Yeah. Nice to meet you, everybody. Royal Leaders Club members now make about $200,000 a year, enjoying quite a comfortable living. Some of them make $300,000, $400,000, even $500,000 a year. And those who make over $600,000 yearly are here today. When they first started, most of them were very poor. To be honest, most of them were teetering on the edge and didn't really have any other choice but to go into this business with me. Newcomers these days don't look so desperate like the early members did. Many of them are young and look quite relaxed. The average age of early members was quite high. Recently, I'm seeing a lot more people who don't necessarily have a problem with their livelihoods or their retirement preparations. They don't seem to have too much trouble with their lives, but are more concerned about their loved ones. That's why they want to do this business. We are very concerned about the future, and the present reality is really not much better during these uncertain times the world is facing. What's really at stake is our personal economies. Let's say the national economy is booming, with great leadership and fantastic economic policies. What percentage would you consider great growth? A 3% growth in a national economy would be considered amazing. Growth at 5 to 6% is no longer possible for us. A nation with a lower GDP than Korea, a nation like China, would be considered to be growing quite well at 6%. Do you think Korea's economy can grow by 6%? No. Not a single economy in the world that has a comparable size to Korea can grow at 6%. Advanced countries grow at 3% if they are doing really, really well, and at 1.5% if doing poorly. Korea is currently at about 1.5%. Apply this growth rate to your home economies. Would your lifestyle change much? Or would your problems all be solved? Think of making $30 more when your monthly income is $2,000. The government can only do so much. Your monthly paycheck might increase from $2,000 to $2,030. There would be little impact on your personal economy. Likewise, in a poor economy, you would lose $30 from your monthly $2,000. Our personal finances are our primary interests, right? You can't really expect the government to do much for you. These days, the government is implementing many welfare programs. I used to be skeptical of general welfare programs, at least those administered by the government. Now, I have a new view on the government's role in the welfare of its people. I used to think for a long time that underprivileged people, such as the sick, the disabled, the elderly, and orphans, were the rightful recipients of the government's welfare. I was strongly against policies that subsidized the young or the unemployed, people who didn't seem to try very hard. I believed the young and healthy should just get out there and work whatever jobs were available to them. I even thought that they were spoiled for not wanting to do manual labor. I realized times have changed so much, and we can't simply turn a deaf ear to young people who are struggling to find work. Now, it's getting a lot harder to find jobs, even for skilled workers, because we're entering a new era of artificial intelligence. How to respond to such a changing world and how to prepare ourselves is of prime importance, I believe. The world's wealth seems to be divided 20 to 80, according to Pareto's law, meaning that 20% of the population controls 80% of the wealth. This rule can be applied to explain many other phenomena. Many things appear to be divided 20 to 80. The fact of the matter is that 20 to 80 hasn't really been all that bad. We're witnessing the world becoming 1 to 99. There's no wonder a movement called Occupy Wall Street took place not too long ago with the slogan of "We're the 99%. The goal of the movement was to take down the 1%. My question is that if we do take down the 1%, will the wealth controlled by them be distributed to the 99%? Will it be distributed fairly among us? Can we expect a nice, equal distribution? I doubt it. I'm not at all advocating monopolies or the wealthy becoming wealthier. On the contrary, I'm very concerned. Even if we want to prevent the concentration of wealth, we must have a realistic perspective on concepts such as income disparity and the wealth gap. Think about what those rich folks possess today. Simply speaking, will the wealth come down to the poor if we completely disassemble all the big corporations? Many are still viewing this situation as a feudal system. In the feudal system, there was a minority of landowners and the majority were poor. If the land owned by those landlords was taken away and given to the poor, would wealth redistribution be possible or not? That's possible with land in a feudal system. On the other hand, would wealth redistribution be possible with current forms of wealth, such as factories or computer systems? Can they be dismantled and still retain their intrinsic values, thus making redistribution possible? That's not likely. We have no choice but to leave them alone. They have their own roles. It's best if we can do it ourselves. Let's take care of ourselves. In addition, the government can do only so much for us with their aid of 1.5%, for better or for worse. Don't put all your hopes on them. Those big global companies make their ways in the world and create jobs in various different industries. Let them do their jobs and contribute to the economy in their own ways. Personally, I'll be happiest if we, the average people, can take care of ourselves. Yeah. However, we average people can't improve by just getting 1, 2, or 3% more. Why not? Because we're currently making $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000, and 3% or even 10% of that makes no difference. What kind of growth rate would be sufficient? We have to earn 100, 200, 500, even 1,000% more. These are the rates we need. Can the government do that for you? They can't. Then what should we do? We have to learn to take care of ourselves. How and with what are we going to take care of ourselves? Anyone? What an easy question. I want you to think of the role Atomy is currently playing. If we want to start any business, we must have capital. Isn't that right? You've got to have capital. What kind of capital is readily available to you? Those other outrageous MLMs want you to shell out several $1,000s as your initial investment. In that case, if you don't make more than that several $1,000s, you take a loss, don't you? That's why there are so many victims of such scams. You should never take losses in business. You can do the Atomy business without incurring any losses. I'll tell you how. See these daily necessities here? You use toothbrushes, put on lotion, take Hemohim, shampoo your hair, and eat noodles every day. If these Atomy goods are more expensive and of lesser quality than those sold at discount stores, department stores, home shopping networks, and internet shopping malls, you shouldn't use them. Don't use them. However, if these items are of better quality, yet of lower price than what you've been using, wouldn't it be better for you to use these goods, whether you do the Atomy business or not? Most certainly. Do you see what I'm talking about? That means you possess more than enough intelligence to do the Atomy business. If you ever think, am I smart enough to do this? Or will my weak academic background keep me from succeeding? Just put it out of your mind. What I just told you is the most crucial aspect of the Atomy business. In other words, are Atomy goods of better value than what you usually use? If you're able to go to our website, check the prices of our goods, and decide for yourself whether or not they're priced lower than the other brands, if you can do this, you are intelligent enough to succeed in the Atomy business. So please stop making excuses. Many people make excuses, saying they're not smart enough, or they have poor education, or some other reason for failure. As long as you're capable of understanding that using Atomy goods is advantageous for you, you have the ability to tell that this business has potential. Look, everyone uses daily necessities. We have to. We use them even when we're poor, right? Even the poor brush their teeth, don't they? Of course. They shampoo their hair, right? Of course they do. Things like that are required in life. Interestingly, more cosmetics are sold in slow economies. Why is that? During our IMF crisis, every sector of the economy did poorly, except for cosmetics. Before the crisis, wives could afford to take it easy at home. Once their husbands lost their jobs, many women decided to find work. They had to put on makeup to go out and look for jobs. People bought more cosmetics, so cosmetics companies made more sales. Cosmetics sell even in a slow economy. The slower the economy is, the more cosmetics are sold. I'm saying that our products are bound to be sold, regardless of the economy. We use these goods regardless of economic conditions. How likely is it for your friends or your acquaintances to disagree with you when you're convinced that these goods are of great value? They will agree with you. If they're fully informed, they'll reach the same conclusion. That's how you spread the word, and consumer groups get formed. It boils down to receiving compensation while you're spreading the word. Have you made any investment so far? Not at all. Your living expense is your capital. You have to buy these necessities anyway. And you got a good deal on them. Did you take losses or gain benefits? You gained benefits. The next step is to grow your organization. Will it grow on its own, or will you have to put in effort? To put in effort by talking to others about it. When you're finally ready to inform people, you must be completely convinced that this business is going to be successful. From a theoretical perspective, does this business sound doable? It's definitely doable because it's theoretically feasible. Look at us. We have grown consistently over all this time. Our business has not produced a single victim. What truly matters is how determined you are about starting this business. You should be convinced about this business because we're grounded by a very sound principle. Nowadays, I see many people who really should be working with us. Folks who were born in the late 50s are beginning to retire now. They are the prime-time baby boomers. Those who were born in 1955 and 1956 have retired, and now the 57 and 58 ones are beginning to retire. Still, they have many years left to live. It looks like we live, on average, 40 years after retirement. The current life expectancy is 90. But my generation is expected to live until 100 years of age. We have to live 40 more years. Do we have pension income to live on? So-called successful people have pension. Is it sufficient? They can possibly make ends meet. However, pension is in no way sufficient for a luxurious lifestyle. It might be barely enough. Rumor says the national pension system is not running well. And there's a risk we might lose it altogether. You have to know this. Therefore, successful people are now facing a hard path of planning a new life. How are they going to plan their new lives? Let's assume those successful people have worked for the government, big corporations, schools, and other decent employers. How are they going to support themselves after retirement? With their pensions? Pension alone won't be enough. They need to come up with a plan B. And most of them decide to run their own businesses. They open cafes, diners, and most notoriously, chicken restaurants, which have infested the entire nation. Those businesses have gone through fierce competition and have run their due cycles. The sad reality is that most retirees pour all of their severance pay into their businesses, only to become penniless. You should not have to spend money at all. You must not spend a dime of your severance pay or pension. Save all of it. At the same time, you must look for a job that doesn't cost anything. Does Atomy require investment? We don't. Atomy just wants you to use our daily necessities and tell others to do the same. That's all there is to it. That's why this business is so appealing to retirees. Of course, some might not be good at this and might quit. Still, what would they have to lose? Their severance pay and pensions still remain untouched. Don't idle around or waste your time hiking or watching TV all day. Come to our seminars day in and day out. Go to your center regularly and don't miss out on any events. If you keep getting exposure like that, you will get the hang of it. This might be a little new to you, but you will figure it out. This is how you should do it. Just say, let's just go. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Just keep repeating those 2 lines, and you might be pleasantly surprised. You might run into someone who was born for this. Okay, some of you might not meet anyone born for this. It doesn't matter. Just keep bringing those people who are not born for this over and over again. Someday, they will bring someone else. Then one day, among all of them, a star might be born. You might be someone who is just too shy to even open your mouth. Or a natural thinker with solid ideas, but no ability to really talk to others. Surprisingly, there are some people who are natural-born speakers. If you happen to be a poor speaker, bring smooth talkers to a seminar. How can you do that? Simply ask them to come along with you to listen to the seminar in this beautiful weather and to check out the sights around here. If you keep bringing just 1 or 2 people every week, that 1 or 2 becomes 10 and 20. And some people eventually bring in 50 to 100 guests. What happens next with that number of people is that they purchase enough for you to become an auto sales master. You receive $2,000 a month. A retiree receives a pension of roughly $2,000 a month after working 30 years. Let's assume that you've worked 1, 2, or 3 years. If you make $2,000 a month as an auto salesmaster after working 1, 2, or 3 years, would you consider that quick or slow? Just tell your people that you're taking it easy and slowly. Tell them work is play and play is work. And just casually bring them along. Along the way, you will meet some that definitely need to do this business, and some who want to do this, even after some initial misunderstandings. Many start this as a part-time job. To those who work but think they don't have an adequate retirement plan, show our seminars after work, or whenever possible. Our lecture video clips are available on smartphones 24/7. Tell your people to spread the clips to their peers. Just live your life using toothbrushes and shampoo, putting on makeup, or eating meals and snacks. As you go on, your organization will grow, and you will be successful in the Atomy business. Simply living your life becomes marketing for this business. Please raise your hand if you just can't understand me. All of you understood, right? If you stay the course, we'll be going the right direction in these changing times. Why not hand down your Atomy member code to your children? A scary world with no future is waiting for our children. Parents tell their children to study hard for their futures, don't they? That's totally useless. Do you know what's going to happen to our children and grandchildren? 68% of their jobs will be professions that don't exist now. Only 32% of their jobs will be from the current era, the jobs that we had. However, 68% of their professions will be unheard of to us. Therefore, you shouldn't force your children to do well in school, thinking good grades will ensure them the nice jobs that we used to have. Not going to happen. One of our royal masters, whose son is about to go to college, thought about this. He reckoned that during the 3 or 4 years his son is in college, Atomy will grow significantly. If his son chooses Atomy, while his friends struggle to find a job 4 years later, he will be able to earn a much bigger income than they can. So he pleaded with his son to take time off from college or to drop out, and had him start this business somewhere overseas. His son learned to speak English fluently and went on to make a very good income. Some children of our royal masters are already making $10,000 to $20,000 a month, and they're not even 30 years old. What about their friends of the same age? They're now studying to death in cram schools, hoping to make $2,000 a month, while our kids are already making $20,000 a month. They're fighting tooth and nail for $3,000 to $7,000 positions. A few days ago, I went to the bank to send some money and took care of my business inside at the counter. While I was trying to leave, the clerk said very carefully, "President Park, could I ask you a question? A quick answer would be enough." He said, "How can I make money?" What do you think I said to him? I answered it very briefly, as he wished. "Quit your darn bank job." Which took him by surprise. His current job is doomed. It's a dead end. Those bank jobs make $3,000 to $7,000 monthly. And branch heads make about $10,000 monthly. However, these salaries will leave nothing after paying for basic expenses, educating their children, and buying a house. Nothing. To sum up, you studied to death until 30 years of age, dedicated the most energetic part of your life to working in the bank, and wound up with almost nothing at 60. You basically wasted all that time. Most of my peers have retired now from jobs like bank branch heads. Can they find new jobs or not? No way. They can't even find work making $1,000 or $2,000. So why is it that we fail at preparing for old age? Because your plans are doomed from the start. All those conventional professions will disappear as they will be replaced by AI. Almost 70% of current jobs will disappear. All driving jobs will be gone, and bank clerks won't be needed either. That's why I told him to get out quickly. He'll be lucky to keep that job until he's 60. But even that'll be nearly impossible because of automation. I view being forced out as a personal defeat. I think you should make the call yourself. Then you can survive. An egg gets fried if it's cracked by an exterior force, but becomes a chicken when hatched from the inside. Yeah. That's why I told the banker to get out of there. Otherwise, he will get cracked and eventually fried. He'll be gone. I'm telling you that even if your children have stable jobs now, it's better to have them leave their jobs before they are forced out. This is not just my idea. Many sociologists are telling us this. Go to a bookstore where they display all the bestsellers, and the majority of the bestsellers are talking about this. You must take action quickly in response to these phenomena. If you put a frog in water and you boil it slowly, it doesn't realize the imminent danger and it gets cooked. You must jump out of the boiling water. A new, frightening world is waiting for us out there, with 70% of the current jobs disappearing and brand new professions being created. We must come up with Plan Bs. But what kind of Plan Bs are there? If you wanted to earn $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, or $7,000 a month, there are no Plan Bs. Why not? Because everybody in the world is looking for those plans and fighting like crazy in a bloody red ocean. You should go to the blue ocean, which many people aren't even aware of, making $30,000 to $50,000 a month. People don't think much about doing this business, so there are plenty of chances out there. The chance to become a royal master is waiting for you. You must take offensive positions in this day and age. If you hesitate, you wind up being boiled like an oblivious frog. So what do you do next? What sort of attitude and tools should you have? Don't you worry about becoming knowledgeable about Atomy. It's not necessary. There's no need to study our products to learn every little detail about them. You're welcome to study if studying comes to you naturally. However, you shouldn't force yourself to memorize those details. You may get discouraged and give up. There's no need for that, I assure you. Those who get discouraged while figuring out our compensation system may think they're incapable. That's not true. All of you can do this without knowing any of that. If you can explain well, you might have some advantage. However, what's really effective is not your intellectual explanations, but your honesty and goodness, which can bring about a very powerful effect. Let's say there's a sponsor who is excellent at explaining the compensation system, but is an annoying person. He's preoccupied with his compensation, so partners are not going to stick with him. They would feel discouraged. On the other hand, There's a sponsor who's not very knowledgeable, but very kind and honest. He makes you want to help him out. You're afraid no one else will help him out if you don't, because he doesn't seem to have very many resources. You definitely don't want to disappoint him. This is how your organization grows. Honesty and good-heartedness can generate a much higher productivity than what knowledge can generate. That's a fact. They are such valuable capital. Let me tell you what honesty is all about. Keeping your word, even in a situation where you take losses, is true honesty. Changing your positions depending on the situation is not honesty. You must follow up with your actions even if the situation changes. In other words, you should embrace taking losses. Good-heartedness refers to putting priority on others' gains rather than your own. 1 Corinthians 13 talks about love. Love is kind, and it is not self-seeking, Paul tells us. In other words, selfishness is not kindness. Kindness is to seek others' gains before seeking your own. This is how you should approach your work. You should have compassion for your partners. If you're a person who is happier to see them getting paid instead of yourself, you will succeed 100%. I guarantee it. How could you not succeed with that kind of mentality? Would your partners not sense it? Of course they would. My sponsor sincerely wants to see me succeed. That's what I did. I am a very good-hearted CEO. I'm not embarrassed to tell you this. Why not? I have evidence. The early members of the Royal Club went through a lot of hardship. And I wanted to see them succeed from the bottom of my heart. I wasn't much better off. I was a credit delinquent and had little money for the company. Although I was in a dire situation, I genuinely wished for their success. I sought my partner's gains. Normally, compensation is supposed to be paid out a week after the books are closed. Back then, I was in charge of the computer system, so I did the daily calculation of compensations, then made phone calls to the members who made sales on that day. I would ask them if they anticipated any returns. We had a lot of returns back in those days. When they said they were sure of no returns, I was thrilled for them. I told them that they had earned $70 that day, and that I was wiring it to them so that they could use it for transportation and for lunch the next day. Then I sent them a message saying, "Congratulations on your compensation. I hope you can earn compensation every day. Let's hope together for even higher compensation." How I looked forward to sending those messages. Do you know how the company was doing back then? How I wished CEO Kim of Colmar B&H would give us goods on credit. Do I look like a con artist? He wouldn't deal unless it was in cash. Therefore, we only got a small quantity of goods every day. What about me, the CEO of this company? I needed income too, didn't I? My wife was working for $1,500 a month, and we used to live in a $500 a month rental home. Wouldn't I also want to bring home at least $1,000 or $2,000? Don't I need it too? I desperately needed to make money too, of course. However, my people, who are now Royal Club members, were in even more dire situations than I was. If I didn't send them money right then, they had to walk instead of riding the bus. They would have to get up at the crack of dawn, couldn't afford lunch, and drank only water. I was able to sense what kind of hardship they would have to go through. Do you think our early contractors believed that I cared or not? They knew for sure that I did. Again, we don't seek our own gains. The success of others should be your priority. That's what honesty and kindness are all about. That sort of attitude is far more productive than just having a lot of knowledge and has the potential of generating a much greater value. Are you all good-hearted people? I sure hope so. Those of you who haven't been nice can decide to start right now. Please repeat after me. I am a good-hearted person. From now on, keep telling yourself that. All you have to do is be nice. Again, being nice is to seek others' gains before you seek your own. As long as someone is willing to work with you, their success should be your priority. If you're determined to make that person successful, our computer system runs on a process that can help that person too. You will never have to take losses. Even if you don't seek your own benefit, our system will do it for you. Again, experts say 68% of our current jobs will disappear. This Atomy business is equipped with a system that enables you to make hundreds of thousands of dollars as long as you're a good person. While you're sitting here listening to my lecture, if you can think of somebody around you who you'd rather see succeed more than yourself, you're sure to succeed more quickly than others. When you have compassion for those in the 99% in this fast-changing world and have a desire to help them out, you will become a good-hearted person. Finally, let's chant one more time. I'm a good-hearted person. Wishing all of you a good heart and great success, I end this lecture. Thank you for listening.